Welcome to Romance Unzipped, your happily ever after book club. I'm Holly.
And I'm Annie. We read, write, and obsess about all things romance.
Let's dive in.
Hey, I'm Annie.
I'm Holly.
We just read Kyra Parsi's
Failure to Match.
Failure to Match.
A good old-fashioned matchmaker client, enemies to lovers, romance.
Billionaires.
Billionaire.
Yeah, Billionaire. Contemporary romance.
This takes place in Toronto.
Yes.
Which is apparently the site of a booming matchmaking industry.
It's the headquarters of where the one percenters go to love match. There is like a really thriving marketplace of elite matchmaking companies.
Eligible bachelors trying to find their perfect match.
Yeah.
Enter Jackson Sinclair, our lead.
Oh, yeah.
He's 35 years old, a billionaire, and wouldn't you know it, in order to maintain shares of his company, he has to get married within, I think it's a month, a year?
Probably, something.
So he's recruited the help of Charmed, the matchmaking company, where our lead, Jamie, works.
Yes. So according to the author, she's 27, 5'7", with blonde hair. Jackson is 6'6", broody, large.
Blue eyes.
Blue eyes, icy.
His eyes do a lot of communicating.
Yeah, he's a taciturn man with an emotional iceberg depth to his eyes.
A slight British accent for unexplained reasons.
Yeah, the Toronto population, secret British invasion. Who can say?
And in this book, they start out, this is an enemies to lovers, and I feel like Kyra Parsi did a nice job of making these two actual enemies. She hates his guts. He's made her life miserable.
For 8 months.
For 8 months, she's been trying to find a match. She's kind of a lower level employee that's trying to work her way up in her career, and he is stymieing her efforts.
Yes. Very selfishly. So he has his own agenda, but she has been tasked with finding him the perfect pair in the world. And he has this bananas criteria, and they can only find 100 women that met this criteria. And they've made dates with 67. He's rejected all of them.
So finally, what does she do? Comes up with some hijinks for their meet cute, where she's acting as if she's a match, but she's really undercover.
In a wig.
In a wig, in high heels, so she looks taller than she is, and of course,
with spy gear.
Things do not go according to plan. She ends up in the bottom of his swimming pool.
Drowning.
Yeah. She had a little too much to drink, and this book kind of leans into the absurdity. So, yes, she fell in his pool after chugging some champagne. Later on in the book, she's stuck in a dress again, is struggling mightily, can't get the zipper, and
she's a 2-gown. She's two for two.
She destroys 2 dresses in theatrical, physical disasters.
That's true, and they are both high-tier dollar dresses.
Yes. So it works out, though. Kyra, the author, makes it work. She really just leans into this style of, it's not slapstick comedy per se, but she's just not afraid of the absurd in the way that Jamie narrates things. She's a very unreliable narrator, especially at the beginning when she still has a negative perception of Jackson.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she makes fun of him in her mind so much, and everything about him that is sexually appealing and like the instant desire is terrible. Like, he's a gargoyle, his eyes are he can't communicate in his eyes in any way. They're stony, they're icy, they're hard. He's he's just
but of course she brings up these attributes just to then talk about how they're stupid or undesirable.
She says he has the personality of a hard-boiled egg.
Yes. That one seems to
I love hard-boiled eggs.
Sure.
You can make them jammy.
I've never considered their personality, but she was going for...
It's well-rounded.
It is. She was going for the jugular, and she got the reaction she was looking for.
Yeah. So, okay. We love to read romance books, and we are writing a romance book. And so part of it is just passion for reading romance novels. Like, I can't stop consuming them. And actually, there was a slight addiction phase. And then I approached Holly, who's a good friend, but is a mechanical engineer, and said, let's write a romance novel together. So part of it is us looking at these books through the eyes of constructing a book and creating a world. And a lot of it too is before Holly and I started doing this, and she was showing me how to kind of look at a book in a, I don't know, like scientific model isn't the right way, but how would you say it? Like analytical?
Yeah, more analytical, kind of understanding why things work. And I just had an interest in figuring out what is it about a certain scene or character or whatever that makes it appealing.
Okay, so we're looking at the technicalities, but also it's fun. Side note, Reddit was obsessed with this book.
That's why we chose this one. We also read the first book in this series.
Deal with a bossy billionaire devil.
Deal with a bossy devil?
Oh, that's it.
I think that's it. It was fairly similar. If you enjoy Failure to Match, that one I think would also be up your alley, but you don't need to read that one first because the characters don't overlap too much.
While both being billionaires and the girls are roommates, so the takeaway is if you're young in your 20s and live in Toronto, you will probably meet billionaires.
Odds are good.
Odds are good.
Yep.
Based on the number of matchmaking firms for the 1%, your odds are good.
So what I loved about this pair in this book is their chemistry, particularly like the sexual tension and their physical chemistry as they were transitioning from hating each other, and then they kind of had a truce where they become neutral towards each other, and then that transition to their first sex scene and like ripping each other's clothes off was just like a delicious slow burn where you knew what was coming and you kind of got rewarded for reading it and waiting to see what would happen next.
Yes. So their first physical interaction is a handhold. It's at 20% and it's so sexy. So this is their first encounter. And their banter is so good. Kyra Parsi's banter between these two characters that I got to chapter 14 without being bothered that they hadn't boned. As is a typical adult way to describe having sex. So she said, my pulse, so they're on a really fabulous date. Escapist billionaire world. We're getting there. This is the stuff dreams are made of. So he's taking her on this over-the-top date. She's in her second pink ball gown. The second dress, which
the second dress that she's going to destroy.
Yeah, and she's in love with this dress. She's walking back and forth, looking at herself in the mirror, and he comes to the door, and then he puts out his hand. And she said, my pulse skipped when our gazes locked. A fluttery and weightless sensation swept through my stomach, and before I could think it through, he was closing the space between us, hands still outstretched, eyes still boring into mine. It was just a handhold. I was like, well done, Kyra. Nice dialogue, or nice inner commentary.
Yeah, I would call this a slow burn. They don't.
Oh, totally.
They don't have anything like a sex scene until I think about 60% in the book. But there's a fair bit of talking, of dirty talk. He really has her number.
It's slow burn to conflagration.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It does kind of speed up quickly.
Yeah, and it isn't. Some books, you have this kind of tiered progression of like, oh, we're
First
gonna have
there's
some
a
second
kiss.
base.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a little finger banging. We're gonna now we're gonna have this kind of sex, and then we're gonna have this kind of sex, and this is just like
Just kind of dives in.
full throttle.
Actually, he dives in.
He does.
It's a pretty intense.
He dives in
oral scene
to all the holes.
Yeah.
And joyfully.
Yeah, he's got a lot of enthusiasm. If you're into that.
Yeah, I mean, who isn't? That's why we read these books. Oh, you read them for the sex? I hadn't even really noticed that they have sex in these books.
It could be for the plot. Maybe you're just really into the matchmaking scene and for the ultra rich in Toronto.
I also like that. So, steam level high, slow burn to get there. Lots of spicy inner banner to pave the way. So when he does go down on all the holes, it's not out of the blue. You're like, yeah, that makes sense.
I agree.
Reasonable.
There's a progression more in the way they're talking to each other that set your expectations.
Yeah, and he's like broody, but also very dirty, like next level dirty talk. And it feels like all the books right now, dirty talk's the thing.
I agree.
Like
dirty
sweet
talk,
lovemaking.
but then also the dirty talk. This one has this as well. There's some little bit of degradation side of it, but then also the praise kink side of it.
She embraced it. Especially in the billionaire world, where we dabble a lot in the contemporary romance, and by we I mean us collectively, the readership.
Sure.
It feels like the guy kind of has to be. We're just talking in heterosexual romance, but also in male-male there's this vibe too, but more so in the male-female, if it's the billionaire alpha, he has to have a dirty mouth. And I don't know, I like it. This is not a...
Yeah, I think one of the reasons that the billionaire romance trope works so well is the author can communicate a lot of information to the reader without saying much. So if you just say, he walked into the room, he's in a tailored suit, and his shoes look like they get shined every single day. That's one sentence. And it communicates so much information that he's like a control freak, he's the CEO of this
control
business.
freak. And that lays the way for some domineering bedtime.
It does. It's all imbued in that description. And then maybe later on you find out, oh, well, some of these assumptions were incorrect, or this female lead is just so amazing and special. She starts to change his worldview or soften him up. But I do think hand in hand with the billionaire world is this guy. It's usually a man. I mean, escapism's one thing, but we could never have a female billionaire. Come on.
I don't think I've read a female billionaire romance. Is there such a thing?
That's a bridge too far for people to possibly imagine. But yeah, I think most of them do have these traits that it works as a genre because it makes the reader, I think, feel pretty good about themselves when they can figure out all of the subtext.
Yeah, subtext.
Without a lot of description. And that was the case in this book. We got a pretty good amount of information about her backstory, why she's at this job, why it means a lot to her. We didn't have his point of view for one thing, but I don't really think we needed it because just having him walk in the room and have help that follows him around.
31 staff members,
yes,
full-time in his house.
It's
she
kind of a
lost
shortcut.
In his house.
She gets lost in his penthouse.
She had to get a floor map of his house so she wouldn't get lost. Also, the escapist point with the billionaire, she goes and does an immersive 1-month coaching to help him become a better dater, which is like so perfectly exemplifies the escapism of this kind of fiction. Like, no, I don't think any super handsome billionaire man who is young and virile is gonna have a low-ranking dating coach live in his house, follow him around at work, go on all his dates, attend all his meals, take notes, and then
give him criticism.
Then critique him
about what he can do better.
Yeah,
to be more eligible.
Yeah, I'd be hard pressed to find one billionaire I know that is.
Well, it's their highest package. That
yeah,
they offer
it is the immersive. It's the immersive package.
This company.
That's true.
That's the premise for the forced proximity. A little light on realism, but.
Well, in Reddit, someone was like, I don't like this because it's not plausible. I'm like, that's the point. This is the escape fantasy. Like, of course, I'm the one that is going to be the person able to change this taciturn, broody, reclusive, crabby, grumpy, dare I say, billionaire that rejects every perfect...
Who is a cynic and doesn't believe in love.
Oh, yeah, doesn't believe in love. Yeah, has, stated love is...
He has his reasons. He has a pretty detailed and rich backstory.
Hashtag trauma.
Yeah, it's not really on the page much, but he's got childhood abuse, both physical and emotional, from his parents. And their dysfunctional relationship with each other and also with him have turned him off from love. It's tragic, but...
Also, it's done in a way, the whole book is so light. There's not any kind of...
Yes.
None of it was triggering, I don't think. There was one section where it was kind of like, oh, this is a little intense, but a lot of books you go back in time and you experience this trauma or have a flashback, and this is beachy at its best.
I agree.
Yeah. I was just thinking, I just got back from Palm Springs, and I was reading about Frank Sinatra, and he was married to Ava Gardner, and they have so much drama, all the Rat Pack and all their cross affairs. And Ava Gardner would always step out on him, and he was having a bunch of affairs, but she famously was talking shit about him and said, Frank makes love like a woman. I was like, how is that a diss? But it kind of fits into
Was she insulting him?
Oh, yeah. She was totally she was negging him,
Okay.
But it kind of fits into this concept of the billionaire bad boy who's dominant in the sack and has the praise, but also the degradation, and is gonna physically and emotionally own you, as
right.
opposed to
So gentle. It's funny because when it's the woman that's in this position of power, now not a billionaire, we haven't seen that, but it's kind of the opposite, where you expect her, certainly in these books, you expect her to be a submissive, and kind of crave that domination from somewhere else because she's spending all of
because he is so irresistible, and she's usually a firecracker, but she has to be in control in her life, and in this place.
I feel like this is saying a lot about the patriarchy right now, as I say it out loud. Because whether the man is in charge or the woman is in charge, either way,
she's going down.
It's going to be like her on her knees being.
But it's hot.
I'm.
And this is why it's fiction.
And the thing is, the reason all the books are like this is because it's what the readers want to read.
Yeah.
And it's mostly women. Not all, of course. We just talked to a guy on our walk 10 minutes ago who was telling us about how he was reading contemporary romance novels.
Yeah.
Just a man in his mid-40s. It's great to see.
I was so excited. I was just like jumping up and down. Holly's like, yay. Cool your jets, Annie. I was like, but I can say it's not just, maybe it's just across the board conditioning because like, I want my wife to dominate me. But maybe I'm just a product of social culture.
Yeah, I think we all are.
So there are a small subgenre of books, the femdom, Femdom, where it's the dominator lady. Few and far between, but some really good ones. Sarah Kate, Cate, writes some awesome. She wrote one that was really good. We're trying to decide if we're going to cuss or not on this video podcast. Do people listen to this kind of podcast around their kids? Holly has kids. She'll tell us. She's
listen to romance podcasts. I have kids, and those two things don't mix for me. I live in a state of perpetual fear that my Bluetooth will connect when I don't want it to.
As
kids
has
are in
done.
the car. It's happened. It's happened a couple of times.
Wait, what was it? Helen Hong's
Yes, it was.
The Kiss Quotient?
Yes, the Kiss Quotient.
Which is very sexy.
It was, and unfortunately for me, I had paused it right smack in the middle of a sex scene, because who knows what happened. And then I put my phone on, and I was out in a very crowded public park, and it just started playing, and I thought my Bluetooth was turned on, but it wasn't. I was just hearing it through the airwaves.
Were they actually in the midst of having sex, or was it just like sexy thinking?
No, they were in the midst, and they were describing the position that they were in, and
he was thrusting.
Yeah, my husband was next to me, and he just kind of looked and quirked his eyebrow, and then I was like, "Oh, that's out loud, isn't it?"
This is not in my head.
There was another instance in the car. It was just me, like my own family, but my kids were there. And as it turns out, there's a delay from when you push pause and the sound stops coming out. So I do my best not to mix streams in any capacity.
So this parent says, no. I'm curious what the general kid population is. Because we're trying, like, as I don't have kids, I have a dog that is overly photographed. She doesn't mind.
But she wouldn't mind listening to smut.
No, she doesn't care. She's immune to it. So I just don't know. What's reasonable? What are people doing? Because we want to be accessible to enjoy.
For the people.
For the people who love romance as much as we do, which is kind of an unhinged, obsessive amount.
What makes you choose a book?
Oh, great question.
Is it the blurb or maybe an author that you've already read?
Definitely author I've already read. Blurb for sure. Like if the blurb is not well written, then I'm not very likely to read the book. Mm-hmm. So I want it to not lay out everything that's going to happen. I want it to like tease me, to tantalize me, to just give me the little like stroke.
Okay.
So blurb, shamefully or not, I don't know. I'm a product of a marketing culture. The cover, 100%.
Okay.
Like, I read online, so I'm either looking through public library or Kindle Unlimited, and if I can't make sense of the cover with my 46-year-old eyes,
then it's not happening.
It's not happening. Definitely the author, like I said, and I like tropes. I like age gap. I like the dark underworld of crime, which is also like the bad boy, right? Like that one. You're the one that can break through,
soften this man.
Yeah, this impossible. Sure. And reviews. Oh my God, I go into a rabbit hole of reviews.
Annie loves to read reviews that other people have written about romance novels.
Yeah.
I feel like that's one of your hobbies in life.
I can go for hours. My wife's like, "What are you doing? Did you pick out a book?" I'm like, no.
Kind of.
Yeah.
I'm reading.
Like, I'll just go. It's fascinating, like the passion.
See, I don't like to read the reviews until after I've read the book.
Oh.
And I don't know why I enjoy reading the reviews after I've read the book, because I already know what happens. And but I almost develop my opinion based on other people's opinions.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I did like that part. Ah, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But I don't want, I'm not that, spoilers don't mean that much in this genre in particular,
but
because you kind of
etiquette people, you gotta write
true.
Spoiler alert.
But I think if you're reading a very detailed review, you have to expect that people are gonna spill the beans. And I don't mind that much, but I still, I don't know, sometimes I just want to go in without expectations.
Yeah, it's the worst when someone's like, first 2 lines, "This is a good book. I would have never guessed that she was his brother." And you're like, God damn it. You just ruined the whole thing.
Yeah, that's harsh.
It is harsh. And also, people's Steam rankings are so unpredictable. So there's a couple reviewers that I really like. Like, there's Intel Chicky Reads Romance. She writes great reviews, and she has a really consistent, like, Steam level rating. So it's similar to mine.
So you know what you're getting.
I know what I'm getting, and she appreciates similar books, and so I like looking out for people. But yes, the reviews. So that's how I choose my books. But I would say it's almost as fun it's like going into the cake store and you just want to look at all the cakes, and then you walk back down the aisle.
Sure.
And then you walk again, and they're like, "What are you going to get?" You're like, "I don't know. Can I see the ingredient list? Is that ganache?" So how do you pick the books?
Well, often I'll just listen to you. So there's that.
I like when Holly and I started this, she had never read any romance novels before.
No.
And I just threw her in the deep end. I love also MM, like male. So I just threw in with some like hardcore like spanking.
Do you know what the first? Yeah, there was some of that. Do you know what the first book is? First romance that I read that you had?
Was it Misha Horn?
No, it was Red, White, and Royal Blue.
Oh my gosh, it's a classic. It's like a perfect example of the contemporary wave of romance novels.
And then, actually, come to think of it, that was male. And then I got into like Alexis Hall, and it was pretty much all male at first.
Yeah.
And
I love it.
I really enjoyed it.
It's like the double power dynamic that is hot, and the sex is really hot.
It worked.
I'm married to a lady, and I don't usually read lady porn. Sorry, lady.
Yeah. Let's be a little more sophisticated here.
OMG. That was a slip of the tongue. Lady romance. Okay, so I am a tangent queen, and you were talking about Billionaires.
Yeah, so I think one of the reasons that Billionaire romance is so popular is it's just fantasy and magic for a different audience, where you have just this fantastical world where anything can happen with a snap of your finger.
Yeah.
And whether it's like a wizard doing a spell or a person with an unlimited amount of money just creating the reality they want, I think it's the same type of escapism. And it's another shortcut, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but for the author to let the reader know what their, set their expectations for what's possible.
Yeah.
Without having to explain it. Just, it's Billionaire. Okay, well, they can just get in a helicopter and...
Yes, and it's not just a helicopter he has. It's kitted out luxury helicopter that's like a little mini suite.
Right. So in essence, it's like time doesn't matter. He's not constrained by things like traffic. And
traffic is for plebes.
Just having to schedule things. He doesn't have to do anything himself.
He has a standing suite at the city's fanciest sushi restaurant.
The best restaurant, he just always has a table ready for him anytime he wants to go.
He is Jackson Sinclair.
Well, he's the most eligible bachelor in Toronto.
He is.
Which is a really big deal.
We forgot to say what they look like. So we said 6'6", sandy brown hair, light blue eyes, and then she's so briefly described, and it's just one little line, and she says she's 5'7", blonde hair, and 28. And so that's the description, besides his hunky body, which we get bits and pieces of.
We hear a few times when she's touching him that he's rock hard.
Yeah, so as they are.
We can only assume that he's...
Yeah, I feel like with Billionaire, there's always the bod. It's just part of the package.
Another element of escapism that I think shines through in this book, and one that I've noticed in most romance novels, is the best friend.
Oh, yeah. Gotta have it.
So she doesn't show up a huge amount in this book. Most of their relationship is just Jamie kind of lamenting that she's not spending more time with her best friend.
Rhea,
because she's on
married the billionaire.
She's on a 10-week honeymoon around the entire world.
Somewhere without good reception.
Right.
Which is hard to find for a billionaire, so they had to work on that one.
Sure. Yeah. At some island countries that we've never heard of.
Yeah, a subterranean paradise.
That doesn't sound like paradise.
It sounds...
it's like a troglodyte world. Yeah, but she's just talking about how, it's in the last month, we've only had 2 conversations on the phone longer than 15 minutes.
And you're like, oh, you don't have 3 kids.
Yeah, that was her description of, like, I can't believe how little we get to see each other. And I was thinking, well, gosh, this is more unbelievable than the billionaire stuff.
It's more realistic that, like, a team of staff would bring her a ball gown.
And I just think that's part of the, like, comfort and... Escapism that you get from these books is, imagine if you had a friendship that was that close, where you had that much affection and such a long-standing relationship with someone, like friendship relationship with someone. And she talks about how they lived together for 10 years, and when they finally had to move out because Rhea, her friend, married Adrian, this other billionaire, they sobbed for days, and it was just she describes that's why at first she didn't mind working so many hours overtime trying to appease this impossible client.
Because she had the lonelies.
Yeah, because she wasn't with her friend anymore. She didn't know what to do with herself.
Yeah.
And I think that is a lovely romantic ideal. Not romantic like in a love way, but in a friendship way, that you would be that close to another person. And a lot of romance novels kind of lean on that relationship, and I enjoy reading about it. And I have friends that I love dearly, but I cannot imagine prioritizing talking to someone on the phone every day to tell them everything about my life.
Yeah, because you have a son that follows you around and talks to you all the time.
I do. I get talked to a lot, which is great. And
it makes it hard. So my dearest, closest best friend, we've been friends for almost 40 years. And we grew up down the street from each other, and we've lived together on multiple occasions, and we are so close. And she also has 3 kids, and we talk very infrequently on the phone, which makes me sad. I would love to talk to her more, but it's just like there's so many pieces pulling as we get to be not 22 it's part of the escape of the fiction. But it's like, you can have time for all of this.
In these fiction worlds that we create and that we immerse ourselves in while we're reading,
feels good.
It does feel good, and we don't have to worry about setting the alarm and replying to jury duty and
oh my God,
dealing with pick up and drop off. Yeah, exactly. So that's a fun little part too.
Bill, property tax. What were we joking about? We're like, no one wants to read that. Oh God, because we're writing our book, and we were, gosh, what was it? I don't know. This is 46. You don't remember the joke. We were joking about that. I was like, is it still counted as a joke if I can't remember what I was going to joke about?
I think it still counts if you can. You can pull it off.
Okay, so this is part of the escapism too, of like the billionaire element. There are social challenges to someone having the majority of the wealth.
Sure, they probably had to exploit people to get it.
Yeah, and who doesn't get it? And there's all these like ramifications. But in fiction, you don't have to think about it. You can just enjoy that he lavishes you with these amazing things. He can whisk you away. Life is yours. You can have it. And so it's kind of like if you like to read dub-con or non-con, or like you like reading degradation kink, like you don't need to actually approve of those things in your day-to-day life, but you can be whisked away.
But you might want to just double check your Bluetooth.
But yeah.
Just make sure it doesn't turn on when you're in public or with your children.
If you're at the park, make sure it's actually going into your ears.
One thing that we talk about a lot as we're writing this book is where do we want escapism and where do we want realism? And there's a big difference between, the exact same scenario can appeal to some people and not others. One thing that I think of is like wearing condoms. Some people get really almost like anxious, like sweaty palms when they're reading a scene. It's like, they didn't even consider it. What if she gets pregnant or STDs? And I'm kind of the opinion of like, why would I want to read about that? That's not...
Yeah.
In this world, they don't have to worry about accidental pregnancy unless it's an accidental pregnancy trope. And then
unless it's a secret baby
and
trope.
then they have to worry about it.
Okay, so escapism, billionaires, fantasy. It's like the material girl's magic world.
Sure.
Snap your fingers, it's yours.
Yeah, so it makes it a fun read, even if you know going in it's not very realistic. We don't need that.
No.
That's not what I look for when I'm choosing my books. Although I do like rom-coms. I like the contemporary setting.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll read it in other subgenres, but I appreciate feeling, I think you've kind of mentioned this, feeling like, oh yeah, that could be me. I could see myself in that.
That's the thing. It's like, especially, I think we're talking right now about heterosexual male-female romantic contemporary. So as I'm reading it, I'm identifying with the female character, and it's always the concept of like, I'm the exception. So I'm every girl, and I'm the one who like tames this wild motorcycle man, or like the mafia psychopath like falls in love with me and he doesn't kill me. Yay! But also he kind of reforms his ways, or else maybe he doesn't, but like he protects me. Or the billionaire who has rejected every perfect woman on the planet. He likes me. And side note, she rejects $200 million for her integrity and to keep her junior associate matchmaking job.
Right, because her career is very important to her.
Suspension of reality.
Yeah, in this book, the exceptionism really comes into play because he has just flat out completely cynical about love, said he doesn't believe in love, he doesn't believe in soulmates, he doesn't believe in any of that. Me. And not only is she the one that he wants, but she changes his entire worldview.
Of course.
I mean, talk about a power trip.
That is why we read it.
Yeah.
Like I read it, I'm like, that's me.
And for the sex scenes.
And the sex scenes.
There's two reasons.
But you also imagine yourself in the sex
three
scene.
reasons.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're like, I'm getting nailed right now, and it's amazing. Don't worry, I tell my wife this is all consensual. I'm not having a secret book affair without her. Sort of. Okay, side note. Another side note. Maybe they're not side notes.
These are just notes.
A collection.
That's how notes work. It's just one and then the other and then the other.
And sometimes there's a circle with little lines going out, and then random Post-its, but they're all part of the notes. There's a cat. The cat is named
Tobeans McGuire.
Mm-hmm. Can you spell that for me?
I could. Toebeans.
Tobeans McGuire.
Yes.
Yes, Spider-Man cat. So he is the typical asshole cat that is very aggressively hissy and
particularly
violent.
With men. If anybody shows up, he's just trying to attack them. But of course, with her, he's exceptionally affectionate, cuddly, gets in her way. The way she describes him is very funny. Like I don't remember the exact quote, but she walked into a room and said, "Oh, this is so comfortable." Like Tobeans McGuire is looking around, finding all the spots where he's going to lick his butthole.
Yeah, that's when she moves into his grand palace. She brings the cat, of course.
Yes. So this guy Jackson, who is a billionaire in charge of everything always goes his way.
Yes, who the cat doesn't like.
Yeah, he doesn't take too kindly to the fact that this damn cat wants nothing to do with him.
It's like a metaphor.
Ooh. Nice.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think it is.
So I love, this is an example of Kyra's cute language. She's describing the narrator, Jamie is describing the cat, and she says, "My cute, derpy little meatloaf." I mean, a derpy little meatloaf. Mm-hmm. You can't, you want to eat it, you want to put ketchup on it, but it's sweet and derpy. Then she says, "I bounced over to where this is capitalized, his chunky adorableness was curled up on the bed and gave him more kisses, annoying the ever-loving shit out of him. He was plotting my murder so hard. It was so cute." Like, oh, murder cat. We love a murder cat.
We do.
Okay, that was an aside.
So Jackson comes up with this scheme. Because again, he's a billionaire and he can make anything happen. He wants the cat to like him.
Absolutely.
So he, I guess, hires a team of artists. I'm not really sure. But he creates like an entire room in his penthouse is for the cat. And it's like got a cardboard box castle. And there's like a...
His cologne permeates the air.
Yes, he sprayed his cologne on everything. He has a recording of his voice talking to the cat. He's
telling the cat, "You love me. You don't want to bite me.
Yes.
My name is Jackson."
It's like subliminal messaging.
Yeah, just imprint, like conditioning.
He's got photos of himself, like miniaturized inside this cardboard castle. I think there's like a pasture with like cardboard sheep in it or something like that. It's very over the top, but charming.
All right, so spoiler, they end up together.
They do. And this book doesn't have a third act breakup.
Yes, people get really sad. I kind of don't care either way. If it's forced, I don't love it. If you're just
I
like,
agree.
all right.
I actually even appreciate it when it works into the plot in a somewhat logical way.
I want to feel the angst. Like, I like the physical heart pang when I'm like, oh no, he's so sad.
Yes, but then you know it's going to get resolved.
Oh, no, but it's hard.
Yeah, in this one, he is pursuing her, asking her.
He's all in from the
he's
start.
Proposing. He wants to marry her, but he only wants to marry her for 1 year so that he can satisfy this contract and get all the shares for his company. And she recognizes that she is a romantic at heart. She believes in true love, and that even though she loves him right now and she would very much enjoy being his wife,
She hasn't told him.
No, she hasn't told him
Keeping
that.
it in.
But she couldn't do it for 1 year and then just turn it off.
She would be heartbroken.
So
It would kill hope.
She has an unusual amount of
Cynicism?
yeah, cynicism given for a romantic, but also just self-awareness that I couldn't expect him to change and be with him for this long, because inevitably that would make me fall so head over heels in love with him that I couldn't recover from it.
But it kind of is like that was the manufactured angst for her, because he's showing her and telling her
Yes.
that I'm going to be all in, and she's like, no, because you're not ready to change. And he's like, listen, no, I'm ready. What else do you want? I'm trying to marry you. I want to bone you. Let's be together forever.
Yeah. So
Just kidding.
He has a character arc that is a little more typical in that he's got this trauma, this core wound.
He has a serious trauma.
Yes. And it's holding him back in life, and it's causing a problem for him. And then he meets this
This woman,
the
exception, the game changer.
and through her love, and he kind of sees himself through her eyes now, and he sees how much
has
she
hope.
loves love. He is able to change, like through the.
She's the one.
She's the one.
She's the exception, as are we all.
So
when
we get
are
to
rating
kind of
it.
watch his progression and feel his roadblocks that's keeping, most of them emotional.
You're right. She doesn't really change.
She doesn't change much. She doesn't really have a complicated backstory. She doesn't have wounds.
She's just wound free.
So
no wound care for her.
no wound care. No, she's just healthy as can be. So that's a little less compelling to me. There's not as big of a payoff. She wants something at the beginning and she wants the same thing at the end, and she doesn't end up getting it. So that's cool. But she doesn't have to go through this journey. And I think following the characters through the muck while they are getting from one side to the other, I think that makes the payoff a little bit better.
Yeah, like a zombie race where you have to like slog through the mud at the end.
Sure.
And you're like, you could do it, just keep going. So what I wonder, and what we've thought about is, do we have to have angst? Is it like we need that dopamine hit? Because I also loved this book. It was really fun to read.
Do you need angst to enjoy the book?
And usually I would say, kind of, yeah. But this was bantery fun enough and that I wasn't missing. I didn't need her to have a big drama backstory, but also it was noticeable that she didn't have one. And it's interesting to think about that he had a lot to get through. And she was kind of like, get through it and I'll be right here.
Yeah, I'll be waiting for you.
I'll be waiting for you,
Yeah.
or not.
She did have a transition from hating him to loving him, so she went
That's
through
true.
that progression. And I think she had such a rich narration about
She
her.
is a good narrator.
That kind of maybe scratched that itch for me.
Yeah.
But in general, I do think when it's done well, the angst and even the third act breakup, even though sometimes that can get a little
As long as it's not forced.
contrived, I think it makes books better.
Yeah. So it's contemporary romance. It is slow burn until it combusts, but there's not a lot of actual sex scenes. There's like a montage of edging and like a quick one page of like lots of dirty acts, but kind of like a fashion montage in a movie where you're
Yes.
like, oh, she wore 20 outfits and 1 minute has passed.
Their first sex is a prolonged oral scene.
Lots of hole licking, as mentioned.
Yes. And then there's another, I think there's 2 sex scenes total. But a lot of dirty talk throughout that kind of gets you prepared for what's coming.
And I have, in the past, been very dissatisfied with books that don't deliver the sexual delight. And I don't this didn't feel lacking at all. The
I agree.
banter and chemistry carried it so much that it was really enjoyable. So it's sexy, slow burn, contemporary, forced proximity, not fake dating, but like semi-marriage of convenience, but more like...
There's a little bit of a vibe of even some fake dating and marriage of convenience, but really it's just the matchmaker client trope that's shining through.
And it almost has this vibe of like grovel, because he's trying so hard to get her, and she somehow is immune to his many, many charms.
He is charming.
I'm charmed.
You can get this on Kindle Unlimited.
Kindle Unlimited at the library. Definitely buy it from the author's webpage, Kyra Parsi. It's KYRAPARSI.com. She's like really not on social media, which is kind of miraculous. I'd love to hear how she did that. And
so for our next review,
it's going to be fun.
It's going to be Beard Science by Penny Reed.
Beard, BEARD science, and it's set in a rural town, and there's super quirky brothers. Yes, they have beards, and this is the very eccentric brother, Cletus, and the former town's beauty queen.
Yeah, so read that if you want to follow along with us, or you can just listen to us tell you about it.
Yeah. Okay, happily ever after.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.